Well, hello, welcome to my cellar. This is one weird damn week we've just experienced. I'm not going to go there. This is my gaming vlog, whatever you call it. So, not going there. Don't have a lot of things to talk about tonight. I'll have to see how much I can stretch. Giving my friend Luke a plug, I'll be doing some virtual games for them. Also going to do some virtual games for TotalCon. I imagine Angie's going to get a hold of me this weekend. I know she's been working. And I'll continue to do virtual games until I get my second inoculation. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is responses to talking about critical hits. I've never been in favor of hit locations, ever. They have validity in a sci-fi game where you're talking about power armor and stuff like that. But I don't believe they have validity in heroic fantasy. Simply my opinion. My opinion on crits is that they slow down the game without enhancing the play. For me, anyway. Well, yeah, if you got a... It depends on how you handle them. I just give an extra die, an extra big die of damage. If they're swinging an 8, I'll give them a 12. Just to, here, some extra damage. Roll that. Roll a d12 and add it on. It's pretty quick. But it all depends on how you handle them and how you adjudicate them. I understand that. Also, yeah, those bags under my eyes are as bad as they look. Keep in mind, I'm doing this very late at night. My take on whether critical hits should go both ways is that it matters how easily a player can bring in a new character. If it's at a convention and a player only gets one life, then I wouldn't want to crit them. If it's a home game where they can have a stable of adventures or roll up new characters whenever they want, it's fine to crit them. I like that. I agree with your philosophy. Not that it's my place to bless you or anything, please. I didn't mean it that way. I think that's a good way of looking at it. I certainly wouldn't. Well, I have critted people at conventions, but I have also given them universal antidotes, which allowed a couple of crits or fatal accidents to be repaired. But the principle is sound. Yeah, you don't kill them outright. I used to. And then I put in my universal antidotes and it changed. In a home campaign, if you want to play with crits, you give them to the monsters. You get them. And if you are in a campaign where you have a stable of characters, I highly recommend that principle, that concept. Not only can you play in different areas physically on the map in the campaign, but if you play about recuperation and training and stuff, I'm not into spending time training, but the old rules about getting better. If you don't have enough Red Bulls to slug down, you have somebody else you can. Granted, I was in Nirvana, but back at TSR, somebody would say, "Okay, we're playing. We got a game going tonight. Delve or whatever in such and such area." And you had players that were in other areas, but you had this player character, pardon me. And so you had this other player character, and that one went on and constituted part of that party. That way you get to play different characters and find out which ones you really love. And you get to play in different games in different areas of the campaign. Win, win, win to me. It's been a really interesting discussion going on Facebook about when you level up, why don't you get a fixed number of hit points or the maximum number of hit points when you level up? It doesn't seem logical to some of these arguments. Some of these arguments posit that it's not logical to go up ka-ching and get more spells and whatever, and then have to roll a variable to see how many more hit points you get. To which I say, balderdash. It's every bit. I think that's the way it should stay. I took some notes here earlier as I was reading through it. I think the variable aspect is interesting. I like it that way, particularly when you can, by improving one of your 6 stats, get more hit points by bumping your strength or bumping your constitution, or getting to that high dex level. There's different ways you can bump. So the fact that, okay, I just went up from 8th level to 9th, I should automatically get, I'm a fighter, 8 hit points. And the argument was made that it's inequitable for a fighter to roll his 8 or 10, or hers, 8 or 10-sider, roll a 1 or a 2, whereas the magic user rolls his 4-sider, rolls a 1, he gets max benefit, and the fighter didn't. Well, that's called luck, fate. If some of the proposals were adopted and automatically go up in a certain number, pretty soon you'd have everybody's the same. And where's the fun in that? A very good argument in one of the threads was made that, okay, his 8th level fighter's got 38 hit points, and that 8th level fighter's got 50. He doesn't care. It's his guy. And I think that's commendable attitude. You play your character. Your character has its own life when being played, and its own unique characteristics, of which hit points is a huge one. I don't see a problem with doing it randomly. Again, it goes back to the original concept and the ability to avoid the fatal blow. Not a blow, the fatal blow. Some of the hits that subtract hit points from you may not actually be contact striking you, simply a trick you pulled out of your armpit and manages to not get killed, a flip, a back bend, a cartwheel, pick any Hollywood non-ninja move. Maybe that was it. I'm going to have to put on my specs to read my notes. I wrote too small. It's too lazy to type them out. I don't believe that there should be a quid pro quo. I went up a level, I get this many more hit points. I think it should be variable. Because, again, there's other ways you can boost your points. And if, oh geez, you didn't do that well. Well, if you've got a high dex, by going up a level, you're going to get another point or two to go along with your die roll. So you have other things, other stats that could possibly help. Let's see. I did read a very interesting method that I think is Really, really good. In this person's campaign, when a person levels up, they get to roll all the numbers of dice that they're supposed to, that they have potentially at the new level. And like 7d10s. And if they roll 7d10s and they get more points total than what they are now, they get to go up to that level or to that number. If they get less, they stay. I really like that idea. There's an element of chance. It could work out really well or just be frustrating for a couple of levels. But so what? It's chance. And I don't believe you should take out too much chance out of this game, or it's no longer a game. It's just an exercise in killing things and finding stuff and advancing your super perfect character. Okay, this response was to the Goblin Lawyers, and he says he thinks he might run a game with the Goblin Court with the PCs as the defendants on trial for terrorizing their caverns. I think that would be hilarious. I mean, it would be so much fun, especially with a low-level group. Manage to capture them all, take them before the court, go through a mock hilarious trial, and then give them stuff like mucking out the stables and just horrible and hideous, degrading stuff they got to do. And just about the time they say, this is enough, we had enough, they all wake up from a very weird dream. And this would be so much fun. Wow. Which is the best of all the official published settings, and why is it not Forgotten Realms? Well, I don't have a favorite because I never read any of them and don't care. I got out of gaming pretty much for about 20 years when I raised my family and coached soccer and refereed and announced and all that stuff, and did Fishing Has No Boundaries and that for a long time before I got back in. And so I never read all that stuff. I didn't like playing other people's stuff anyway, not if I hadn't had a hand in making it. I could still play the Village of Hamlet and be just as surprised by stuff, because it's been so long since we made that, and it was a joint effort of fine-tuning and I don't know whose names are on it, but in the playtest sessions, we honed this and knocked that corner off there and, made it better. I don't have one. Don't care. I like playing in my settings. Drizzle is his hip-hop name for shizzle. All right. Well, I did not mean to denigrate Bob's writing. Obviously, he struck a chord with a lot of gamers and a lot of fantasy readers, and good for him. It's just that his archetype fractured the framework of fantasy role playing as based on or copying D&D. Now here's the next good one. What's your favorite adventure type to run? Dungeon delve, investigation, espionage, etc. Well, I think a good adventure has all those elements in it. It's got to be something underground or buried in the sands, or something like that. Got to figure out how to get there, figure out what's going on. Maybe spy on the locals, or in terms of format, I like to run what basically I've written since I came back to doing this stuff. I like some getting there. I like some digging there. I want some conflict. I want a razor thin balance, hoping that the player characters will be slightly smarter than I generally, when I write an adventure, generally characterize the mood, particularly in certain situations. I preset the mood of the monster or the foe or the opponent, depending upon the level of blood involved. So then I like some I like some puzzling bits to learn more. I never give them all the information of where they're going or what they're likely to find. Um, I've been known for writing an adventure in the middle of a desert where there was a huge underground apiary and literally hundreds of gallons of incredibly valuable honey and no buckets or barrels or anything. So it would spur the campaign's imagination once they get all this to go back and secure it. And then whatever they do with it after that, I don't care. I just want to make the adventure of finding whatever it is, or solving, or rescuing. That's what I like too. I like all those elements in there. I got a whole one of those red boxes with the brass corners full of stuff I've written um, within the last, good Lord, 14 years now, almost 15. Um, okay, Happy New Year, Tim. Yeah, thank you too. Um, way back in Strategic Review, Gary wrote an article entitled "Stormgeschütz and Sorcery." I don't know. Did Gary write that or did Rob write that? Okay, I'll take your word for it. Always thought this would be a really cool game to try, mixing the genres. Some other modules come to mind that make genres such as Expedition to the Barrier Peaks and City of Gods. Have you ever played these types of games, and what is your opinion on them? Please take care of the cold. Well, thanks. Um, yes, I have played in that. I like mashups. We did mashups like that at Lake Geneva using chainmail and Tractics rules kind of mashed together. So the half track got an armor class, and the Panzerfaust got an armor class, or a blast radius and a number of dice. And so it's really the type of game that somebody has to prepare for two sides to play. That's the only setback to running those kind of games is when you set it up, then you got to let everybody else play. But oh, is it fun? Oh, yes. Absolutely, it's fun. And if it's balanced well, then the fantasy players got an even Steven shot of defeating the anachronisms. A lot of fun. Okay, let's see. How long have I been blabbing? Not very long. No, this may be set a record for brevity. 2021. Let's hope it's a better year. Um, I hesitate to taunt fate and say it couldn't get worse because God knows right now the deaths are raging out of control. Cheryl and I did our foraging expedition today and went out to the grocery stores. And she went to one other place to get some clothes for one of our great grands who has a birthday the day after mine. So he and I are going to have a joint party, actually 2 days after his on the Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I got another little bit of a rant. And that's about cell phones right now. Now the new ones have USB-C plugs, which means all the cords you bought over the last few years are just that much of a black spaghetti tangle. And what I really want to know is who the buffoon at Samsung was that thought a 26-inch cord from the charger was a good idea. 26 inches? Give me a break. And these damn cords cost like $1 a foot. Give me a break. 26 inches? Would you make this for a T-Rex? Okay, in the coming weeks, days, please wear a mask. Please social distance. Please don't go out. Find a game to play online. I'm running another Wheel of Blame on Monday evening for 6 guys. And yeah, I know they're all guys. I'm doing that and having a great time doing it. Find something to do indoors. Stay away from demonstrations. Stay away from Looney Tunes. Sanitize everything. And hunker down, because as of today, it's as bad as it's ever been. And on that grim and cheerful note, grim and cheerful, well, one of those, one's real and one's sarcastic. Donata Gobi. Oh, hello. I'm still figuring out when this thing starts. Welcome to my cellar.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Last man round when the race went down. Calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard brain. PSR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Titan with tramp under a tree, high as could be. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.